And the principle I would like to introduce is the word NAPA. Need, acceptance, proof, and action. Now, what does it mean? The principle is being demonstrated almost every day in a plane. For example, you sit in a plane and the flight attendant is doing the safety demonstration, right? So we all know what these people are saying. They say, oxygen masks will appear, emergency exits are, this is how you fasten and unfasten your belt, blah, 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 all right? And somewhere she's going to say, could you please take a look at the safety card to point out the nearest emergency exit? How many people are taking that card when she asks for it?
The nervous ones.
Never, all right? However, during the flight, sometimes there is a moment you have the tendency to take that card. When is that moment?
Turbulence.
Turbulence. The plane is going up and down, longer than you expect, and all of a sudden, coffee is over your lap. And you start worrying a little bit, just a little bit. So you can imagine that if you present solutions, but people don't accept the pain, the solution will lead to nowhere. The first part is about why. The second part is how. The turbulence is the why. The emergency car is how can you escape. So in this respect, guys, I have a few questions to you. Because this is the basis of this whole session, this whole training, selling to the sea level. It's all about creating turbulence and making something urgent. Because the card initially is just a piece of plastic. But you have to change that piece of plastic into something relevant. And in this respect, I have a few questions for you guys. So, first question, could you take a piece of paper and a pen? Could you write down for yourself, what was an important decision you once made in your life? Any decision. Private, business, moving, getting married, buying a house, something like that. Write down a decision. Question number 2. What was the pain, and I'm not talking about physical pain, but unpleasant situation you wanted to get rid of? Feeling lonely, depressed, frustrated. Must have been some pain. And the last question is, what was the trigger? What happened that caused you to act? There must have been a situation. Somebody said something to you, you read something, you saw an opportunity, something snapped. This is typically a moment that you can look back in your calendar. So there must be 3 things on your piece of paper now. A decision, a pain, and a trigger. So I'd like to see a couple of interesting examples.
Yeah, mine was buy a house, but for my mother, and that was because she was living with me. And the trigger...
And what was the pain? Your mom?
Yeah, and the trigger was the new girlfriend.
Your new girlfriend?
Yeah.
Or her? Your, okay.
My girlfriend, yeah.
So the new girlfriend arrives and the situation becomes impossible.
It's sort of cramping the style, so... Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Mom. I'm thinking out of the box and you're moving out of the box.
Yeah,
all right?
exactly.
So, good. There's a triangle, isn't it? There is a decision, there must be a pain, and there is a trigger. No trigger, no next step. If you look at our job, selling to the sea level, it's all about you being that trigger, saying something to inflict some pain. The question, of course, is what can you do to be a trigger? And if you look at the principle, what I know from my experience, guys, is a few things that works very well. Confrontation. The confrontation with a situation is a great way of inflicting some pain. Do you know why Mr. Lamborghini started making sport cars instead of farming machines? What was his pain? Maybe you know the story.
He started moving from tractors into Lamborghini because he wanted to compete with Ferrari. They wouldn't sell him a Ferrari.
They wouldn't sell him. And I heard a story that he was driving a Ferrari and he broke down the gearbox. And Ferrari said, when he complained, you know, you're so smart, you'll make your own sport cars. Huh? Make your own sport cars. And he said, okay, I'll make my own sport cars. I'll show you something. That was the ultimate confrontation. And the funny thing is, if you look at confrontation, very often you will see C-level executives confront their own people with stuff that they are doing, they should be doing better. So the confrontation is not new for them as a concept, but maybe is a bit unusual as a sales concept. And that's why I would like to do a little exercise. Because I have here my trigger meter. Consider this as the turbulence meter in a plane. So imagine the following situation. You talk to a sea level guy. And before you speak about anything, you need to trigger me.